She's going to explain why the pro-life message will win the 2014 Senate race for the GOP. Come on up, Marjorie Dannenfelser.
Well, this man knows what bilingual means. In my household, it means there's Southern spoken and there's Northern spoken. So my husband's from New Jersey. I think y'all might have the same situation going on there. And I just turned to my neighbor and said, Mallory is a force mouth, so thank you. I hope to be a positive one when I can. Well, I think the title is provocative because that this issue will win the elections, because I think when most people hear that, they say, I'm not so sure. Past his prelude, are we really sure about that? Well, it is provocative, and it should be winning, and we can win, and the tide is turning, and I think we will. So I'm just going to spend 2 minutes on why does it matter, 2 minutes on how we lose, and 2 minutes on how we win on this issue. And when we lose on this issue, we very well lose the election. When we win on the issue, we very well can win the election. But why does it matter? One is, if you care about winning, we got to get it right. It's time to go on the offense. Let's start picking out the positions on the other side that those guys and women do not want to talk about, and let's start talking about them. Abortion up until 9 months, taxpayer funded through Obamacare is what we're talking about. No limits on abortion ever. We're one of 7 nations that has no limits. That includes North Korea, Vietnam, China, and others. We are a barbaric nation when it comes to this. Going on the offense, if you want to win, you never saw a scared general. So fear not is the motto, and should be the motto from here on out on this issue. Second of all, it does matter. It does. I used to think it mattered. I was very pro-choice. My mind was changed by some smart people like sitting in this room. I was the co-chair of college Republicans at Duke. I kind of set myself up to be completely and utterly humiliated with the stupidity of my body, my choice argument. And I changed my mind, and I started working on it. But why? What does it matter? Well, it matters partly because if you have the philosophy of weeding out the underbrush of society, if you've got the philosophy of Margaret Sanger, if you've got the philosophy that has really hurt human beings throughout history and led to movements that entire classes of citizens were eliminated, if you care about that, if you care that that could be the case, then you have to be fighting what is behind abortion and the abortion business. Children with disabilities are our matchless teachers. They are the ones that teach like no one else can, and they are the first to go. They are the first of the underbrush, in Margaret Sanger's terms, that gets checked out. They're ones who teach us why being vulnerable is actually the strongest place to be, because they live that. That is, in my view, the worst tragedy that we see. It matters. It matters because there are 4,000 a day. It matters because we are a better nation, and we only have a government that was instituted to protect those rights. The only reason for our government was to protect those rights that were not being protected. It matters because we are a better nation than what is going on. How do we lose when we lose? Well, we lose because of fear, once again. We lose because of fear. We've seen a couple of elections where really wonderful guys got scared, and they either said the wrong thing or they said nothing at all. In both instances, there's no forethought, there's no formulation, there's no strategy, there's no game plan. There's just praying and hoping it never comes up, and getting in an ironic fetal position and not speaking of it at all. And then we know what happens in any other issue in politics. What happens? You're defined, you look like a jerk with no character, and the other guy looks like a knight in shining armor, and he's the one with the extreme position, or she's the one with the extreme position. So it's time to turn the tables on the war on women, and let's talk about what we're really talking about. And that means we have to prepare. When we lose like we did in Virginia, because 5,000 radio ad spots are put out against our candidate, and there's no answer. I'm a nice guy, you know, I love women, I love my wife, I love my kids, and I love my dog. And meanwhile, the other side is saying, you are a misogynist. You're an abuser of women. You're fine basically with the torture of women, and you're just saying, I'm a great guy. Now, I love Ken Cuccinelli. He's actually my cousin. I love him. Bad strategy. Bad strategy. Lost by 2.5 percentage points. The data showed, not by our group, but by others, that the issue among Democratic women would have moved women voters by 15 percentage points on the late-term abortion. You know who really understood that? McAuliffe. McAuliffe sent out robocalls to the other side, to our voters, saying that Ken Cuccinelli was not pro-life enough. He knew the power of the issue. We lose when we're afraid, and we retreat, and we don't define the other guy, and we're not ready. When do we win? Well, we win when we look at the Politico poll today, which said 70% of people care about this issue. Now, why do they care? Well, there's a heightened visibility. They only care when they care. They care when somebody makes you care. These polls that are done sort of out of context when there's no discussion on the issue are just kind of off base. 70% of the people care, and 80% of the people have some version of the pro-life position. The Democrats have the 19% issue, which is no restrictions at any time. That is their platform, and that's what their candidates run on. It's time to get smart. David Jolly down in Florida had a great blowout election. This issue helped with Democratic women in Democratic households by between 15 and 18% when they talked about late-term taxpayer-funded or sex selection abortions. Mainly because they're never hearing our message. Democratic women don't hear this. They only get the war on women jibe. They don't get anything else. They need to hear from us, man or woman. Let's speak for what we really believe and put the fear aside. In this election, we're going to be seeing an opportunity to pick up the 6 states that make a lot of sense for us, finally, to go on the offense and really win. If we get it right, we will win. Because if you look at Kay Hagan, Mary Landrieu, Mark Pryor, and the litany of others, they are in the red on this issue, and they're red on every issue. But this is an issue that Tom Cotton will be using, Bill Cassidy will be using if he's the nominee, and certainly the North Carolina nominee, I'm from North Carolina, and I always call him the wrong name, Tom Tillis, there. They understand the 20-week bill is the most powerful thing that is happening through this nation right now. It's passed in 14 states. It's passed the House of Representatives with all women's leadership, love the guys. It's not enough. It is not a goal. It's a beginning, and it will save 18,000 children when it's passed by the Senate and the next president of the United States, 18,000 kids. It's a bunch. It's the best thing that we've got. It's not enough, but it's the best of what we've got. And it wins. It wins in every demographic. So training candidates, which we're doing at the Susan B. Anthony List, also working within the party to train committee people, to help pass a common sense resolution on passing this bill, means that we actually will have the camel's nose in the tent for what really matters, which is these children's lives. In the meantime, we're going to win elections on other things that we also care about. And so I'd ask you to join me, and thank you so much. Oh, I'm so happy I got it well. Join me in this effort. Thank you.
What a great crowd. What a great crowd you are. Okay, first question.
Thanks so much for being here. I'm just going to ask you to speculate. There's some Supreme Court decisions coming down later this spring.
We have one, actually. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the gut reaction? What are the whispers? What are you hearing? Anything? Any feel? Any gut reaction?
Well, no. I only know about mine. Isn't that self-centered? I think ours is going to be great. I think that to just address the Supreme Court on this particular issue, though, if you don't mind, on ours is a free speech issue in Ohio, and I think we're going to see that our standing question at the Supreme Court is going to turn our way. All the justices said something about these false statement laws that are used by the left to silence us in elections. So I think that's good. On the court in general, there are many philosophies about what could work. Paul Clements, who I respect immensely, he's argued at the Supreme Court 80 times. He believes that this is the best strategy because it is happening organically from the people. It crosses demographics. What I'm talking about in the 20-week pain-capable bill. He thinks it's smart, and we need to keep going with it. And I think that we will get there without question. The other side doesn't want to challenge us, and anywhere but the Ninth Circuit, of course. But I don't blame them. They don't want to be talking about it. Eventually, obviously, it will, though. And there is great hope that then we can start undoing this tragedy.
Next question. Is there another question out here? You guys are being very timid. Okay, please stand up.
I wish I could do what you did, which is like take the thing out and start walking around. I can't do that. One day.
Are you able
Rich
to
Miniter,
get,
he does that.
are you able to get in front of the plethora of people who may be running in the Democratic primary?
In the Democratic primary for the presidential race? No, what are we speaking of? I'm sorry.
Are you able to get in front of the people that are maybe running in the Republican primary for president?
Yes.
To share your position?
Thank you for asking that, because I meant to mention that leading up to the Senate debate, sort of a quasi-debate on the floor, we couldn't get a real debate quite yet, was the run-up to that was talking and reaching out to the presidential candidates who almost all so far have said that this very moderate, modest proposal, this 20-week bill, is something that they can embrace and love. Now, we should go further, but we asked them that because we want to be setting the table before the presidential race begins so that they have something ready to go. They know what to talk about, and they're not hoping and praying that the issue never comes up. So yes, I think we're doing far better than we were last time. And I think there's a melting of the fear. I think that there's some point in there where you bash your head against the wall so many times and you realize what the definition of insanity is. Let's try something a little bit different. I think that's happening right now.
Next question. We have time for one more question. Is there another question here? Oh, great.
I was wondering if you had heard the presentation from 12-year-old Leah Mills. She's a dynamo.
Yes, she is, and I love her. And she actually was at our gala and performed. She's wonderful. Have y'all heard of Sarah Blair, who is in West Virginia and is a dynamo young woman who beat a sitting Democratic incumbent and is going to definitely be in the legislature in West Virginia soon. She is exciting. She's exciting. It is fun to watch those things.
Tell us a little bit about the Susan B. Anthony list and what you're doing and what we can expect from it.
Do you wonder why it's called Susan B. Anthony List? I know, I always forget to say that. Well, she and her compatriots really believe that you could never fight for the rights of some people while you're breaking the rights, unfolding rights of other people. So they were for abolition, they were for suffrage, I don't know, and quite a bit. And what's unrecorded is they were very pro-life. There wasn't a word then. The word abortion wasn't even then. But she's called it child murder, and she said it'll burden your conscience in life, it'll burden her soul in the grave. And they all believed that until around 1960 or so. And then things started to change. What it meant to be a strong woman, inclusive of all and exclusive of none, changed. What we're doing, our main thing, our big thing, of course, is is our focus on the Senate, the U.S. Senate. We have to be a nation that stands for something, and we're crumbling at the core. And without the leadership of the Senate, and then a president that we can be proud of, we're in bad shape. That doesn't ever diminish, of course, because what's happening on the state level, it has to happen here. But it also has to happen because the founders cared enough to set up a system to fix problems. It's like a big problem-solving tool that they gave us, much deeper. But we have to be able to stand for something and use those tools, or we should be, Dietrich Bonhoeffer said, to fail to speak is to speak. To fail to act is to act. And we're all acting in this room. I look forward to acting in concert. So thank you, Mallory, very much, Force of Nature, for having me here.
You're so sweet. Website. Let's talk about your website and how can people get more information?
Well, Google SBA-List.org. And we also have a lot of information in the back that, is it okay for us to put that back there?
You sure
information. Pick it up when you leave and call me.
And you'll be around to talk with people.
And I'll be here, yes. Thank you so much.
Marjorie
Let me
Dannenfelser,
be
thank
here.
you.